When we are discussing tokenization, it is now at the forefront and in the middle of the stage. The reason for this is that tokenization is likely to be ubiquitous in a few months once it has been introduced. To put it another way, each and every major participant in the industry is currently discussing it. Tokenization is something that comes to mind when we think of Wall Street or the financial sector. It is being welcomed by them. Tokenization is gaining popularity among governments. The regulators are creating an environment that is favorable to tokenization. The green light has already been given to all of the major banks. Therefore, tokenization is prepared for growth and acceptance, but only for the short term. Now that we are considering it, is that correct? As a matter of fact, let's take a cursory look at what has been going on since players such as BlackRock are providing us with some information. And if you are not paying attention, you are missing out on the most important details. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) is the first regulator that we will discuss. There was a roundtable discussion convened by the SEC on May 12th. The Crypto Task Force has provided this information. At this point, they talked about tokenization, and among of the companies who participated in this discussion were BlackRock, Fidelity, and Nasdaq. But there were certainly more companies involved. As far as we are aware, Robinhood was also present. In addition, we did receive an announcement that there would be another one on June 5th, which was made later in the month towards the conclusion of the month. One of the topics that would be covered at this conference would be tokenization and digital assets, and the conference would be called Emerging Trends in Asset Management. Additionally, this event featured panelists from BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, and Fidelity. Additionally, the Nasdaq was there and Robinhood was also present. What is the bigger picture that you perceive here? In the event that you do not, it is not a problem because BlackRock is going to inform you right here. Taking everything into consideration, it is clear that everything is going on chain, and the most important actors are not missing this at all. This includes them as a component. Here we have just received a significant update. Within the realms of custody, tokenization, and bond issuance, HSBC Hong Kong is actively pursuing blockchain technology. That same HSBC, by the way, that formed a partnership with Medico in 2023 and is also still connected to Ripple custody, which, by the way, is also enabling tokenization on the XRP ledger. All of these things are happening simultaneously. I am curious about the individuals that HSBC will employ for the purpose of custody, tokenization, and bond issuance operations. I could only speculate on that. The RWA tokenization on public chains is anticipated to have a boom during the next 2 to 5 years. The way they are describing it to us is almost as if they are doing so. What's up? As you may already be aware, HSBC is a major company that has previously made significant use of Ripple. Additionally, Ripple is actively promoting the XRP ledger tokenization program at this time. Within 2 to 5 years, they anticipate a significant increase in the amount of RWA tokenization on public chains. Could you tell me what they know? Back in March of this year, BlackRock's Think pumped tokenization in an annual letter. This is another example of what we encountered over here. Yeah, he was talking about how Wall Street and virtually everything else is going to move on chain, and how tokenization enables so much more than anything else in the world surrounding technology, including artificial intelligence. The world's financial system is based on plumbing that was constructed during a time when trading floors, yell-out orders, and fax machines were considered revolutionary. Now that we are looking at how we can modify the way that money travels, what we tokenize it, stablecoins are being glamorized by these large players, because once you have stablecoins on chain, that's money on chain. This is why stablecoins are being glamorized. From that point on, anything else becomes really simple to bring on chain. All of a sudden, the capital markets, equities, and the foreign exchange market are all on chain, which means that the foreign exchange market is already on chain. Also, just so you know, Larry Fink in April, because you have to keep in mind that in March everything was happening. This is the month of April. According to Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the tokenization of an entire market, including stocks, bonds, and real estate, is on the horizon. If only we could find a solution to one of the problems. The digital verification process is now their issue. Indeed, this is a significant problem, as is obvious. I mean, okay, he's going to push this, and he's warning us about what kind of things are required. Everyone, of course, is having issues with their digital identification. To a large extent, I concur with that. Despite the fact that I believe that digital identification is not required for anything of this nature, they are going to push this hard. Additionally, we have BlackRock, the BNY team, which is located over here. An SEC filing reveals that the Treasury Trust Fund might have tokenized shares worth up to $150 billion. It was the 1st of May. Take a look at the dates that are listed below. All right, March, April, and May are the months. While we get to the end of May, or more accurately, while we are still at the beginning of this process, everything begins to fall into place. A breakthrough moment is currently occurring for tokenization. BlackRock, Libre and Multibank are making movements worth billions of dollars, which indicates that the transition from theory to implementation is taking place. Tokenization is getting significant traction. And yes, this is the trust fund that is worth $150 billion, right? This is the Treasury Trust Fund. And then on the same day that Libre revealed its ambitions to tokenize $500 million in Telegram debt through its new Telegram bond fund, we received the major announcement. The fund will be accessible to investors who have been granted accreditation and will be able to serve as collateral for on-chain borrowing. Then the most significant news of the week came from Dubai, when a number of financial institutions inked a $3 billion RWA tokenization contract with MEG, a real estate company located in the United Arab Emirates, and Maverick, a blockchain infrastructure provider. These kinds of maneuvers are becoming so prevalent that they are no longer seen to be significant because of how common they are becoming. When we consider what is going on here, we realize that this is the case. However, keep in mind that this is being promoted by some of the most well-known personalities in the industry. Continuing with our discussion of Dubai, on June 8, real estate sales in Dubai reached $18 billion in May, despite the drive for tokenization. It's fascinating. By the way, you are referring to the announcement that the Dubai Land Department has launched the pilot phase of the real estate tokenization initiative on the XRP ledger. DLD predicts that the groundbreaking effort will promote considerable growth in the real estate tokenization industry, with its market value anticipated to reach $60 billion AED by 2033, representing 7% of Dubai's total real estate transactions. This is something that we should take into consideration when we look at this. Along the same lines, this is recorded on the XRP ledger. We now have the statement from Ripple, which states that real estate is one of the most valuable asset classes in the world, with a value equivalent to over $600 trillion. Beginning with Dubai's Title D tokenization, which is constructed on the XRP ledger, it is now connected to the blockchain. It keeps expanding every day. The pace of acceleration is continuing to quicken. To add insult to injury, the XRP ledger has merely continued to increase in RWA value, which has increased by 35% over the course of the past 30 days. The initial number of 157 million is merely the beginning. In addition, the market capitalization of stablecoins has increased by more than 31% during the course of the past 30 days. It was actually possible to see what has been developing over the past couple of months, the most recent month in particular. We may also observe that the stock market is expanding rapidly. In the past week, the ROUSD has increased by around 36.5%. Because it began at zero, Ondo with OUSG was able to see an increase of 1.9 million. Moreover, the debt of governments outside of the United States has increased by around 1.25%. There's nothing insane about that. Additionally, we have an increased quantity of Treasury notes and United States Treasury securities. In addition, when we take a look at what is taking on in this situation, we are beginning to observe some very significant step functions that are taking place in relation to tokenization on the XRP ledger. To add insult to injury, this tokenization of real estate is simply a pilot phase, and we are just getting started with it. Imagine a time when this will be completely operational. In all seriousness, let's have a little conversation about what BlackRock has been conveying to us. Let's begin with the most important thing. According to BlackRock's chief operating officer, the next 10 years will be defined by the convergence of traditional capital markets and the digital world. What kind of guidance would you offer to, the rest of the financial universe that is contemplating entering this field? But you know what I mean. You have a really good question. When viewed through our perspective, I believe that it is a pretty straightforward solution, yet putting it into action is a very challenging endeavor. Therefore, I am aware of that. On the other hand, we consider it to be quite fundamental.